I got out here today and started working, and I started doing something I thought was pretty cool, and I wasn't videoing it, and I thought, maybe you guys might want to see this. I don't know, it might be cool. We're going to find out. But hey, if you're getting any kind of value out of these videos, would you hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave me a comment. You're my people. But what I did was, you remember these? Those right here and right here, not here, but here and here were the cabinets on the door side between the bed and the door. Well, this one back here still had the door on it. Not in real good shape, but what I've been finding out when I'm trying to build cabinet doors, they used a 3/8 plywood. I can't find 3/8 cabinet grade plywood. I can get maybe a builder's grade. It's not going to look as good. May not look very good at all. But I like to use that cabinet grade. It's 1/2 inch. The guy at the big box store said, no, don't make it. It's either 1/2 or 3/4 or 1/4. So I thought, man, maybe I can take this door and cut it down to fit the door that's going to be right next to the fridge. Because this would be the fridge, that would be the microwave, this would be the closet, right next to the bed. So it's still kind of the same. So I pulled that door out, took the measurements, and I'm going to show you what I'm working on. So here's that door I was talking about. So I measured the door, and it's about 68 tall, and it is 19 1/4 wide. It would be so awesome if my opening was 68 by 19 1/4. That would have been great. But guess what? According to my calculations, my opening that I'm going to need is 16 by 61 1/4. That's what I need to make this into. So about 8 inches is coming off this way, and about 3 1/8 is coming off this way, east and west. North and south about 8, east and west about 3 1/8. So I thought, I don't know, man. It looks nice. I gotta sand it down. There's a few imperfections, but you know, it's an old camper. If we could reuse something this big in that camper, I think that's really cool, really cool. So I took it over to the table saw, and I took 3 1/8 off here. Ta-da! That's what 3 1/8 looks like. 3 1/8 right there. Now, I've got to take this piece, if I can get it off of there, and then put it back here. Or remake this. But before I can put this back on here, I've got to have, as you can see down here, right here, there's about a 1/2 inch overlap. So it will shut into this. This will be inside. This will be flush. So I've got to do that up here. So this appears to be 2 inches. So that means I got to do the same thing here as here. So I need a 1/2 inch lip on this. And I am going to try to take 2 1/2 off here maybe. Cut that off without cutting through this. Look at that. Crazy. Just crazy. I'm going to try. We're going to see if it works. Just stick with me. Stick with me on this. I'll take you through it. Well, like I said, I've got to get 2 1/2 inches off of here. Let me mark 2 1/2. Oh, yes. 2 1/2. So we're going to try and get that done. Now, that's the good side. Down here, this is coming off. So I think I'm going to practice on this one. So, 2 1/2. 2 1/2. Now I gotta set my blade almost just perfect on here. So we take that off. Ooh, we're pretty close there. I'm gonna let this down just a touch and see where it rests. And so right now it is just level sitting on there. So it stands to reason that if I cut straight across here, it shouldn't go through. Let's see. Let's see if this plan is over before it starts. Hey. But now, will this come off without damage? Question number 1. It did. That's not bad. I can clean that up. That's not bad. That's not bad. But as I sit here, I'm thinking to myself, maybe, just maybe, for all the time and effort I'm going to put into this, I ought to just rebuild it. Just make it from new. I like the old stuff, you know I do. I'm gonna turn the video off here for a second. I'm gonna think this over, because it's really not a difficult door to build. But I don't know. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you. Got my rounded off bit on there. Let's use the router. I have got to do the edges, so I'm going to turn that around, clean it up, and get that. Hey, shop dog. Curly's going crazy. So, when I get this done, I'll jump back on here, and I'll explain to you what I'm doing. Curly. I know what you're thinking. We talked about this, didn't we? We did. I thought about it. I tried to rework it. I thought about it some more. And then I got to be thinking, why does it have to be 3/8? Is it got to be 3/8 just because this is 3/8? And then I thought, well, no, because when I tore this apart, I measured on the hinges. Jim wants to use the original hinges because they're Art Deco. They're really nice. And I'll show you here in a minute. I haven't got it cleaned up all the way yet, but I'm going to show it to you. So I remembered that when I checked it against 1/2 inch, it didn't fit flush. Then that just means your doors are going to come open and shut. You don't want that. They're going to look cockeyed. And that was when I first tore it down. So that's been a couple of months ago. So I thought, well, let me go back and check those. Let me go check them. There's only an 1/8 inch difference between 3/16 or 3/8 and 1/2 inch. Surely something could be figured out. And as our friend Tracy with the 78JS knows, everything can be figured out. So what I did was I got a hold of this right here. Let me hold it kind of tight. What's cool about these is those lines running through there. And it's a nice shape. And look at the lines run right through here too. I know I've got to shine it up. I will. But I just wanted you to see it. Jim really wants to use these because he bought some closing hardware that matches this exactly. So we're going to use these. So this drop right here, that tells you how thick your cabinet doors are going to be. If that's a 1/2 inch, you use 1/2 inch wood. If it's an inch, you use inch. That's just what it is. This was set at 3/8. But then I got to looking at it. And this wasn't at 90. Okay. So I got a 1/16 out of it by pulling this down to 90. Then it just barely sat up a 1/16 here, right here. So what I did is I put it in the vise and I tapped it down a 1/16. And you never would have known that had I not told you. And again, nobody likes a rat. You don't need to tell Jim anything. He's not going to notice. This is perfectly standard. It's not going to hurt anything. Nobody likes a rat. Okay, so between this 16th and this 16th, that gives me an 1/8. So my 3/8 went up to 1/2 inch. Look at that. That's nearly perfect. If it isn't perfect, look. I'm completely here. I'm completely here. You don't see anything here. You don't see anything there. So that means I have solved the puzzle. We're going to be able to use this 1/2 inch cabinet grade, which is what we want to use. I wasn't going to be pleased if I didn't use cabinet grade, because not only do I have high expectations for this trailer, Jim has high expectations. This is a very rare king. I want it to look fantabulous. I want this to stand out above my other work. So I had to figure this out. I figured it out. Now, I've got to sand this down. I'm probably going to use about a 220 grit, something like that. I'll sand it down, and then we're going to amber shellac it. You've been waiting for me to say amber shellac, I know. But that's what we're going to do. And then I'll show you what it looks like, because I think it's going to be beautiful. Other than installing the door, I'm going to show you my final step. Now, I've got these shined up, as you just saw. They came out real nice. They were bad, but, you know, there's a few tips and tricks, but we just went with the elbow grease this time, and it worked. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put 3 on here. So I'm going to measure this, and I'm going to put one directly in the middle. So this is 61. I've got to come to 30 1/2. I've made my little mark. And then I'm going to decide, where do I want to put the other 2? How far up and or down? And I think I'm just going to set that there. Maybe move it just to where I think it looks nice. And I'll kind of set this one down here, just kind of close, just to see how I feel about it. I feel good about that. So I'm going to put a measurement on this one right here. I'm going to make it exactly 7. Oh, and put my little mark right there. And I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make this one exactly 7. And when you do this kind of thing, it just makes your eye happy. It doesn't know, your brain's not telling you anything, but nothing's out of place. And that's good. That's what we want. We want people to come in and notice the craftsmanship, not go, I think that's an 1/8 of an inch off. No, that's not what we're looking at here. These are vintage. This is amber shellac. Come on, we're not, so you got to take care with that kind of stuff just to keep your brain happy. All right, I'm going to use a number 6 1/2 inch screw. And that's not too far off from what the factory used. So I'm going to put one in each of these just to kind of get started. Hold it down real tight on both ends. Nice and easy, put that in there. I'm going to come here, make sure I'm on my mark right there. And I'm just going to snug them up. I'm not trying to waller them out or anything because these three have got to bear the weight of this big shelf, or big door. And it's not heavy really because it's cabinet grade and it's half inch. So, we've got the three on there. It'll easily bear this weight. It'll have 3, 6, 9 screws in on the front piece. If you look right now, I think this is really starting to look nice. Let me put one more in here just so I can put it up there and let you get a kind of a quick look. Put that down. So see where we're at? What do you think about that? I mean, you can't go wrong, in my opinion, with amber shellac and these vintage silver / grayish hinges. We'll get it installed and you'll see that at our last video on the King.